Hey, Cowboys Nation. Today, we're diving into all the latest developments surrounding the Dallas Cowboys, covering everything from player updates and coaching moves to strategy insights and roster questions. There's a lot happening behind the scenes that could shape the trajectory of this team, and it's crucial to break it all down so you get the full picture of what's going on in Big D. Let's start with some of the news that has been generating the most buzz recently. The situation with George Pickens. There's been a lot of chatter, some of it overblown, about how public statements and support from team management can influence a player's value and contract expectations. When you look at closely, a lot of the drama is more about perception than reality. Jerry Jones has made it clear in interviews that he sees Pickens as a top competitor, someone who brings everything necessary to succeed on the field. That kind of endorsement is natural for a team owner, but it gets interpreted in wild ways, sometimes suggesting that backing a player publicly automatically means you're obligated to hand over a massive contract. In reality, it's just about showing confidence in a player who has proven his worth on game days and in practice, and understanding the chemistry he brings to the squad, especially alongside Dak Prescott. There's no guarantee or automatic obligation, just an acknowledgement of talent and contribution. Now, while some voices have suggested that the Cowboys would need to pay Pickens $40 million to match top wide receiver contracts, the reality is much more nuanced. Pickens fits in Dallas, meshing well with Prescott's style, and it's reasonable to expect that the team could apply the franchise tag if a long-term deal isn't immediately agreed upon. That number on the franchise tag would be closer to $28 million, which still represents a significant commitment, but isn't the extreme figure sometimes floated online. What matters is context. Pickens has shown the ability to elevate his game in Dallas, whereas a move to a team lacking a capable quarterback could hinder his performance. It's a classic case of environment shaping output, and the Cowboys understand that his value is maximized in this system. In addition to Pickens, the team is also managing injuries that could impact key matchups. Jake Ferguson, for instance, moved from limited participation to a DNP on Thursday due to a calf injury, which immediately raises questions about his availability for upcoming games. Calf injuries can be tricky because they have the potential to escalate if not properly managed, especially when it comes to Achilles' risk. The Cowboys are carefully monitoring his rehab, but this shift in status suggests that his participation against the Vikings is uncertain. Should Ferguson be unavailable, it opens opportunities for players like Luke Schoonmaker, Revin Spanfeller, and possibly Princeton Fant to step into larger roles for the game. Managing these adjustments is crucial, as depth and flexibility are always tested in mid-season NFL games. Turning to the linebacker situation, there's an ongoing debate about Kenneth Murray versus Logan Wilson. While Coach Schottenheimer publicly backs Murray, the numbers show that Murray has consistently received more snaps per game compared to Wilson. Despite Murray's athleticism, there are concerns about his effectiveness in run support and coverage assignments. Wilson, on the other hand, often finds himself in the right position, showing strong instincts even if he lacks the same physical tools. This raises interesting questions about long-term strategy for the Cowboys at linebacker. Do you prioritize raw athletic ability or consistent on-field decision-making? Fans are weighing in heavily, considering which player might offer a better blend of reliability and potential, particularly in high-stakes matchups against teams with diverse offensive threats. It's a nuanced conversation that highlights how important coaching decisions are in maximizing player strengths and mitigating weaknesses. The coaching staff itself is another area where attention is warranted. Connor from Sports Source recently released his annual, highly detailed coaching candidate list, which surveys nearly 100 names for head coach and coordinator roles across the league. While not all of these names will result in interviews or hires, it gives an interesting perspective on who is on the radar for potential movement and how the Cowboys' current staff is perceived externally. Clayton Adams, for example, has drawn attention for his work on the offensive line and coordination, showing that even non-play calling coordinators can gain visibility if their contributions stand out. The trajectory for staff members like Adams, Aaron White-Cotton on defense, and Steve Shimko with quarterbacks will be watched closely, particularly as teams consider upgrades or lateral moves. Understanding these dynamics is key for fans who want insight into not just the players, but the coaching minds shaping the team's future. Offensive line and coordinator decisions are especially critical when it comes to protecting quarterbacks and optimizing offensive schemes. Players like Dak Prescott thrive when the system allows them to utilize their strengths, and the coaching staff's ability to adapt and innovate is a major factor in sustaining success. Conversely, defensive coordination and snap distribution at positions like linebacker can make or break crucial plays, particularly against high-powered offenses. The Cowboys are in a position where managing talent, injury risk, and coaching strategy simultaneously is essential. The interactions between player performance, coaching philosophy, and long-term contract create a layered, interconnected environment that defines not only wins and losses, but also team culture and public perception. Finally, broader NFL news always intersects with Dallas Cowboys coverage. For instance, updates from other teams, such as the Raiders starting Kenny Pickett against the Eagles, have ripple effects in how matchups are viewed, influencing scouting, preparation, and comparative analysis. Even small shifts in roster status or quarterback readiness on other teams can change how the Cowboys approach game planning. Every team in the league is watching each other, making moves and adjusting strategies, which means that following news beyond Dallas is not just optional. It's essential for understanding the competitive landscape. Cowboys Nation has to consider these variables when thinking about the upcoming games and how the team's decisions, whether about player utilization, coaching choices, or contract negotiations, will impact both short-term and long-term outcomes. The takeaway here is that the Dallas Cowboys are navigating a complex web of player performance, injury management, coaching strategy, and NFL-wide trends. Decisions about George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, Kenneth Murray, Logan Wilson, and the broader coaching staff all illustrate the interconnected nature of team dynamics. Fans watching closely can see how the organization balances short-term game needs with long-term development, how they manage public perception versus internal strategy, and how they adapt to unforeseen challenges, whether that's injuries, performance inconsistencies, or league-wide shifts. All of this combines to create an environment where every snap, every coaching adjustment, and every roster move carries significant weight, and understanding it in context give a fuller picture of why the Cowboys operate the way they do. As we move further into the season, we also need to keep an eye on how the Cowboys are going to address some of the more long-term questions surrounding the team's future. The uncertainty surrounding key players like George Pickens is just one piece of a larger puzzle, and the Cowboys need to make decisions that will shape the roster for years to come. While the public debate about Pickens' potential contract continues to swirl, the team is already looking at other areas that need attention to maintain its competitive edge. The Cowboys are in a unique position where they have a strong roster, but are also facing challenges that come with balancing current success and future stability. One of the areas of concern that has been bubbling under the surface is the situation at linebacker, specifically with Kenneth Murray and Logan Wilson. While both players have shown flashes of talent, there's no denying that Murray has had inconsistencies that the coaching staff can no longer ignore. The fact that he's had more playing time compared to Wilson despite his shortcomings has led many to question the decision-making process at that position. There's always this tug-of-war between athleticism and football IQ. It seems like Murray's physical traits are winning out, but not always in the most beneficial ways. As Jerry Jones pointed out, competition is a good thing, and this is an opportunity for both of these players to prove their worth. But it's also an indication that the Cowboys might need to start looking for another linebacker in the future, someone who can offer more consistency and discipline, while still bringing that physical edge to the field. Logan Wilson, though not as flashy as Murray, has been a solid contributor when given the opportunity. His ability to get in the right position and make smart decisions on the field might not always make for highlight reels, but it's the kind of reliability that a team like the Cowboys needs, especially when you consider how the defense is structured. But even with Wilson's positives, the Cowboys can't afford to wait forever for him to fully develop into a reliable starter. The current linebacker situation, with its uncertainty and lack of clarity, means the Cowboys will have to think long-term And whether it's through internal development or external additions, the linebacker core will need to improve if the defense is to remain elite. Switching gears to the coaching staff, we've seen a lot of talk about potential exits and promotions as other teams look to fill head coach and coordinator roles. The Cowboys have some strong candidates on their staff who might attract interest from other organizations. Clayton Adams, for example, has done a great job with the offensive line this season. Even though he isn't currently a play caller, his work with the offensive line has been notable, and it's earned him some recognition around the league. However, Adams still faces an uphill battle if he wants to secure a head coaching role. The Cowboys' offensive line has improved under his guidance, but historically, non-play calling coordinators have struggled to land top head coaching positions, especially those coming from positions that don't involve direct game planning and strategy. His future with the Cowboys seems secure for now, but if a team with a strong offensive line vacancy comes calling, Adams might be tempted to make the leap. On the defensive side, names like Aaron White-Cotton and Steve Shimko are likely to surface in coaching searches across the league. White-Cotton's work with the defensive line has been outstanding, and he could attract interest from teams looking to improve their pass rush and front seven play. While he may not be the top candidate for every team, there's no doubt he's building a reputation as one of the top defensive minds in Dallas. Shimko, as a quarterback's coach, could also be on the radar for teams looking to improve their quarterback development or overall offensive strategies. Both of these coaches bring something special to the Cowboys, and it wouldn't be surprising to see them courted by other organizations looking for a change. That said, the Cowboys are in a position where they have the leverage to block lateral moves, which means they can prevent other teams from poaching their staff members for similar roles. The team can't, however, block coaches from taking head coaching jobs, which is why it's so critical for the Cowboys to remain competitive both on the field and in the coaching ranks. Losing a key coach could have a ripple effect on player performance and overall team strategy, and the Cowboys need to be mindful of the balance between coaching stability and talent development. The pressure is on, as the Cowboys know they need to keep their coaching staff intact while continuing to build for the future. This brings us to another important aspect of the Cowboys' planning: their ability to adapt and manage roster changes over time. The front office will need to make key decisions about player contracts, trades, and draft picks in the coming seasons to ensure that the Cowboys continue to contend for championships. One area of potential concern is the wide receiver position. With the Pickens situation still hanging in the balance, it's worth considering how the Cowboys will approach their roster at this crucial position. Will they continue to invest heavily in a star receiver, or will they pivot to a more balanced offensive approach that leans on a variety of weapons, including running backs and tight ends? With Dak Prescott at quarterback, the Cowboys have a solid foundation to build on, but the receiving core must continue to evolve to keep pace with the competition. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. A storm seems to be brewing in Dallas, and whispers from inside the Cowboys locker room suggest things could be far more toxic than fans realize. Head coach Brian Schottenheimer reportedly lost his temper during a recent team meeting, reportedly describing two players as cancers within the locker room and vowing to remove them. The remark, already spreading like wildfire through social media and insider circles, has ignited speculation about who might be on the chopping block and how this internal drama could affect the team's season. Sources close to the team indicate that Schottenheimer's frustration has been simmering for weeks, fueled by disagreements over effort, attitude, and leadership in key moments. While the identities of the alleged cancers remain shrouded in secrecy, insiders suggest that the coach's comments could be aimed at veterans who, despite their talent, may have clashed with the locker room culture he is trying to cultivate. The tension reportedly reached a boiling point after a string of inconsistent performances and locker room disputes that some players feared could fracture team unity. Analysts and former players are already weighing in, with some praising Schottenheimer's willingness to confront issues head-on, while others warn that targeting specific players publicly could backfire. The Cowboys have historically struggled with internal conflicts spilling into the public eye, and this latest episode seems poised to add fuel to the fire. Fans and sports writers alike are speculating not only about which players might be at risk, but also whether this bold move signals a new, no-nonsense era under Schottenheimer, or a gamble that could destabilize the locker room further. As the rumor mill churns, questions abound. Will the coach follow through on his threat? Could this shakeup ignite a revival in team chemistry? Or will it deepen fractures that have long haunted the Cowboys? One thing is certain. The Dallas locker room is suddenly under a microscope, and every move, every comment, every sideline interaction is being scrutinized. The tension is palpable, and the buzz around the Cowboys locker room isn't likely to die down anytime soon. In a league where internal dynamics can make or break a season, all eyes are now on Schottenheimer and on the cancers reportedly lurking behind closed doors. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.